Hello, my name is Mel, and I have a few things I want to talk about today. Oh shit, there's only 2 left. Now the thing is, I am an autistic woman. That felt weird to say out loud. And I would apologize to anybody who would be a little bit offended by the fact that I would be smoking in this video. But that is a stim for me. So, we've got an invisible minority throughout the entire world. And like most or all minorities, it is an oppressed minority, but we'll get back to that later. The invisible minority is people with autism or autistic people. Personally, I prefer to be called an autistic person because autism is not something I have, it is something I am. But we are invisible because for the majority of us, you can't necessarily see it on us that we're autistic. You can't see it because we learn to hide it, because being who we were naturally born to be is not accepted, because, it's kind of like the survival of the fittest, and in this case it's the survival of the majority, because the majority, doing things the way that suits them best, will survive. But then you have us, the minority, the autistic minority. We're not built to function in society as it is run now. We have a finite amount of energy, and when that energy runs out, bad things happen. And by bad things, I mean bad things for us personally, not for everybody else. Bad things happen for us because we run out of energy, but we are still expected and required to exert more energy than we have. It's like filling up a glass of water and giving the water out to everybody till the glass is empty. And then someone comes up to you and says, those people haven't gotten water yet, give them water. You say, but my glass is empty. I don't care. Look, my glass still has water in it. Their glass is a lot bigger. So they've given to the same amount of people. All those people have gotten water. They still have water to give to the others. Your glass is small. You've given water to the same amount of people, same amount of water because that's what you were told. You don't have any left for other people, much less yourself. But because general society can't accept the fact that, oh, our glasses are smaller and there's not really anything we can do about that. There's a finite amount of glasses. Some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger. We just happen to be given the small glasses. That's not taken into account. So we go through life under the pressure and stress of dehydration in this analogy, and the pressure of other people looking down on us and judging us because we cannot give water to more people because we don't have any. That's the first thing. Now, if we were taken into account and maybe had to give a little less water to each person so that there was enough to go around, or we weren't required to give water to as many people, we would be able to keep up. If the rules were made and catered to everybody instead of just the majority or the one group, then we'd be able to fit in. But then the only time that we are recognized is something very visible, or when it's something that is considered bad or that is bad. For example, massacres that happen to have been perpetrated by autistic people. Autistic people are dangerous. No, autistic people are not dangerous. You have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horrible, horrible crimes done by normal, neurotypical people who are pushed over the edge. Then you have a small handful of crimes committed by autistic people who have been pushed over the edge. But what happens? Just like with every minority, what happens when an autistic person does something really, really bad? Oh my God, they did it because they're autistic. No, they did it because they were pushed over the edge. Just like every other person that does something terrible, they did it because they were pushed over the edge. Either that, or were used for comic relief in movies and series and TV and whatnot. Most of the time, it's for comic relief, or for a feel-good piece. Look at this poor autistic person. Someone helped them, or they pushed through all the odds. It's like, well, we're not here to make you feel better about yourself. We're not a charity case. First and foremost, we are people. We are different, no less. And that is something that needs to be grasped, understood, and accepted. We are people, no less. Just because our brains work a different way does not mean that they work in a lower capacity. Just like any neurotypical regular person, there are people on the autistic spectrum that have a higher IQ and that have a lower IQ. That's not any different. We're the same in that regard. You have people with autism who are incredibly intelligent. You have people who are neurotypical who are incredibly intelligent. You have people with autism who are not so intelligent. You have neurotypical people who are not so intelligent. Just the fact that our brain works differently doesn't mean we're dumb. It just works differently. Just like I have red hair, you could have brown hair. Does the fact that I have red hair make me any less intelligent? Does the fact that you have brown hair make you any less intelligent or any less capable? No. My skin is light. Someone else's skin is dark. Does that have any hold on our mental capabilities or on our IQ? No. Just because my brain fires differently, it can still reach the same levels of intelligence. It just takes a different path. Now, the thing that really gets me, that goes right along with the oppressed minority story, like, let me give you an example. This morning, with my morning routine, it is done a certain way because I am not a morning person. I cannot get up and push first thing in the morning. The way that I cope with that, because I have to push, is that I have my ironclad routine. Everything down to the position of my coffee and the sugar and the milk and the cups and the everything, all in specific spots. Now, yesterday, being a particularly, good day in some aspects, I thought I'll wash the sugar jar because it needs to be washed. I'd emptied it and had sugar crusted in the bottom, so I thought, I'm gonna put that in the dishwasher. I'll be fine tomorrow morning. Then last night, I forgot to make my daughter's lunchbox in preparation for today. I forgot to prep the coffee. I forgot to prep that last night. So this morning when I got up, first off, different time because I could sleep in today. So I woke up at a different time, went out. My coffee is not on the stove ready to be turned on. Shit. Okay, I'll use instant because I don't have time to, start cleaning the maca and prepping it. I'll use instant. Oh shit, the sugar is not where it's supposed to be. I've got to go get the big one. Got a big tub of sugar that I fill up the little jar from. Okay, I gotta go get that. Oh, then it's another thing. Then I have to lift up the stuff that's on top of it. This, for some people, would not be considered a stressor. The fact that you have to lift up a box of flour, a tub of flour, to get the sugar out and put it down. There was a little pack of marshmallows balancing on top. What if I dropped that? What if marshmallows spilled everywhere? Not a big stressor for some people. For me, big deal. I had to get the sugar out, but because my routine in the morning was screwed, I didn't remember if I'd put sugar in my coffee. By the time I had it all there, it was standing there, the sugar was next to it. Did I actually put sugar in my coffee? With the instant coffee, the flavor without sugar is very offensive to me. It is a sensory thing. So I had to taste my coffee to see if I put sugar in it. I hadn't. So that was another thing on top of everything. Then I added the sugar, but the sugar was supposed to be added first. Now this may sound like a whole lot of crap to anybody who's not autistic, and that is the problem. These things for me are very valid. Now, it may be called whining. I may be told to get a grip and get over it. I may be told a whole number of things. It can't be that bad. It'll be okay. But you know what? For me, this is very valid. For me, these are difficulties that I have to face. I have to face these stress triggers along with a whole world of people telling me, what are you freaking out about? What an overreaction. Pull yourself together. If you just try a little harder, you'll be fine. And that doubles, triples, quadruples the stress. Now imagine you get up, you go to make your coffee, you drop your coffee, it smashes all over your brand new white carpet. Your carpet's ruined, thousands of dollars, maybe. Shit. Then you start getting ready to go drive to work and you wear really fancy, expensive clothes. Something got ripped. That's another big financial whatever that you've got to do. Stress. Then you go and get in your car and you crash on your way to work. Then you go to the hospital and your car's totaled. You can't work, so you can't pay back, all that kind of stuff. Imagine the amount of stress you'd be feeling there. You might be losing your house. You might be, your whole life's ruined. For an autistic person, that level of stress that you'd feel right there is the same level of stress that I, for example, felt this morning when the sugar wasn't in the right place. Now, that's not right or wrong. Your reality is one. My reality is another. Neither of them are more or less than each other. Just because you don't feel as much stress as I do doesn't make my experience invalid. I could turn around and say the same thing. What's wrong with you? Do you not feel? Do you not have any reaction whatsoever? Do you have like a million buffers in the way? So you just don't react to things. How nice it must be. But no, I don't, because your reaction and your experience is valid, just like mine is. Basically, the point I'm trying to make with this video is that we autistics, we are also human. Our needs are equally valid, if different, to neurotypicals, to a regular person. Our needs are just as valid. Just because you might not understand them doesn't mean they're not valid. I know that people can be afraid of the unknown. I am afraid of the unknown, but sometimes that fear needs to be faced because that bridge must be crossed. That hill, that mountain must be climbed. Just because you don't know what it is to be us doesn't mean that you shouldn't put in the effort to try to understand. And if you are void of understanding after exerting effort in that regard, then just accept. And that shouldn't be so hard to do. I think most of us, or all of us, can't speak for everybody, I can only guess. But I would assume that every single person on the face of the earth just wants to be accepted for who they are and have accepted that their struggles and their high points are just as valid as anybody else's. That's what I want. I'm pretty sure that's what everybody wants.